Final question. No, nobody take that one. They probably won't.
Are we live? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for the St. Mary's County Board meeting. I'm Sharon Fitzsimmons, Board Chair. We're going to go around and introduce ourselves.
On the wall. Scott Stein.
Judith Gwynn, treasurer.
Comes John.
Dorothy Waters.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Johnston, Vice Chairman.
And library staff.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Blackwell, Director at St. Mary's County Library.
Shelby Miller, admin assistant.
Belinda Lloyd, finance and HR coordinator.
Amy Ford, branch manager.
Amy Dickinson, branch manager.
Mary Ann Bowman, deputy director.
Atina Lavanos Probst, assistant branch manager.
Rainy Nguyen, librarian.
Andy Tidings, librarian.
Rita Baldwin, assistant branch manager.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Michael, could you turn the volume up just a bit?
You think it's the fan? Maybe if I turn the fan off, maybe?
Yeah, I would
Maybe that.
turn the fan off. The volume in the room is going to give us feedback if it gets any louder.
Thanks. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, there's
I'm having trouble hearing.
it's
Everybody speak loudly,
an
please.
EQ high problem. All right, so we now have approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Bob moves to approve
would-
the agenda. Bob there.
I move we approve the agenda.
Second.
Judith
I would
second.
like to add 2 late breaking items, please. The first will be under action and it concerns the staff day. And the second will be under informational and it concerns our compliance with the Freedom to Read Act.
The freedom to what? I'm sorry.
The Freedom to Read Act.
Thank you.
Any other additions or changes? All right, so let's move forward with approval of the May 2026 minutes. Any changes or notations? Otherwise, we can move to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the May minutes.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Second the motion.
Ramona seconds. Fantastic. Any, I guess, in favor? I don't know if we're voting on these still. So all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Celebrations.
Well, we've got quite a few today. And first to Stevie Sanchez and Hannah Bear, who have completed the Advanced Library Associate Training Institute. It's maybe not quite as rigorous as getting a Master of Library and Information Science, but it is very much so. It's a year-long program. They have a capstone project that they have to work on, which in these cases was developing programming for the library that they will put into place. And congratulations to both of you for completing a very significant career step. And then we have quite a few hip hip hoorays today. The first is to Atina Livanos Probst. And Atina, thank you for your work reorganizing the literary and adult fiction, large print, and adult nonfiction area to better meet the demands of our customers. And let me find your certificate. There we go. And I'm giving you the certificate for that. And congratulations. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Thank you. now touch almost the entire adult collection at Leonardtown, and I also got to learn it so much better. So this was very beneficial. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Athena. Okay, and next we have Dean Nicoyan, Andy Titans, Kimberly Fields, Hannah Fair, and Jake Parsons for your exceptional efforts in planning and executing library signature lexicon program. Thank you. Please. Let's see. What's anything? How many attendees?
We've had over 200 attendees, so reported officially we had 213, so it doesn't include everybody who interacted with the program outside of who we have. A very small row who was just as her, so it also and she has helped her mom construct the costume. It's adorable. There are pictures. You're welcome to ask and to go with all.
And finally, to Rita Baldwin and to Melissa Kalpos for your extraordinary work overseeing the training of volunteers and procuring materials, the closing reading gaps plan. And that is where we had these two fine folks train volunteers to be in after-school programs to help close the reading gap entitled in school areas. You'll get a final report on that grant next month once we're kind of finished with it. But Rita, let's take it back. Great work. Let's say
This was a lot. It was a big grant. We did a lot of work for it. It took a lot of staff time and brain power. But mostly, I really want to thank all the volunteers because they really were outstanding. I can't. That explains. Just keep flashing at me. So I'm just gonna talk louder. That does work. I really want to say thank you to the volunteers who participated in Story Champs program, because without them, we couldn't have done it. And they really did go above and beyond. It was an intensive curriculum, and some of them are retired teachers. Some of them are planning on becoming teachers. Some of them have no plans for teaching at all, but just really care about the kids. And we could not have done it without them. And I don't think anyone anticipated what a big project it was going to be. And they really showed astounding resilience and flexibility. We could not have done it without the amazing volunteers in our community. They're really blown me away. And I'm glad to be part of this community here.
All right, next up, we have the treasurer's report. Judith,
Next month.
next month.
It's in
Okay.
July.
And the Smurley report from John?
Yes, yes, quite a bit of it is involves the preliminary version of the facility study. So I was proposing to postpone that part until we deal with the Shaw Hall renovation later in the agenda. But that we met both on May 26th and June 9th. Feedback. Still hearing me? Okay. We've hired a couple of new staffers, and I promoted one who had been there to supervise them, and they're working on making Smarla's website accessible.
So it will actually be better if you move it closer and we can turn down the gain.
Still, right? So there's a number of documents that they'll be going through on Smarla's website to finish making it accessible next April. The idea is to implement accessibility overlay to the materials catalog since Polaris is not accessible. There'd be a third-party add-on for that. I accepted the reappointment. To the board, remaining as vice president. And, that way the state law is written, the smaller boards and the other regional library boards are self-perpetuating. It's an RFP going to go out in the next fiscal year for a polling firm to perform a community survey. We adopted the FY27 budget, increases from costs, lower costs for the audits, the trash equipment, switched to a different vendor for the audit. And then this past Tuesday, made an adjustment to our investment portfolio having to do with accepting a discount on the financial management fees, going down 5 basis points to 75 basis points. And that's all I have until the Charlotte Hall item on the agenda.
Perfect. Thank you. Over to the director's report, Michael.
Thank you. We'll start by taking a look at the fiscal year 26 budget. Your report is as of the end of last month. So 92% of the year has passed, and we are starting to sort of see where we're going to be for the year. We asked that except for essentials, no further budgeting expenses be done. We're hoping not to dip into the $50,000 that we had allocated possibly for the fund balance. And so to stay within the budget for the year. There are a couple areas that are over. The biggest area, which is salaries, is at 91%. So we can hope with a balance of 363,000 and monthly expenses of 330,000 that will not go under. So that's our biggest one. Looks like we probably will for the health insurance, and we are looking to adjust those figures for next year. Over on page 2, you see that the utilities are in fact more expensive than we had anticipated in a couple of cases. Overall, those things are at 92%. So again, we will hope not to be too far over, but there will necessarily be some adjustment of budget lines to and a final reconciliation to make up for anything that has gone negative. Operating supplies, not a particularly large expense for us, but at 72, looking pretty good. Circulation, we will, between digital and the book balance, which are the first 2 lines of circulation and digital collection, spend out all that. That is an essential.
Michael, I had a question about the salaries and specifically the substitute salaries line, which is higher than what we budgeted for. Would it make sense to look at staffing, or did we already for next year to say if we can bump someone who is currently part-time to full-time to cover that position?
We typically are using those folks when we have gaps even among the existing staff. So we try not to go too far over there. We will be looking at adding 1 position to the budget for this upcoming fiscal year. Because it's going to be an outreach, I don't think that will necessarily solve the whole problem. I think it's more just a question of when we get to the end, doing our best to say, that's it, folks, do your best.
Okay.
Happens every year. Unless I can increase the actual funds that are in there for the subs, we do run into that at the end of the year. But if I do that, I have to take from somewhere else.
Understood. And that's why a lot of times what I have seen in other positions or other places is when you are finding that you're bumping up against a substitute salary that is equivalent to a part-time salary, that if you can transfer that to some of your other staff?
I believe it costs about $30,000 to add benefits. So when you're making somebody part-time to full-time, that's actually quite a big chunk.
Okay.
So putting more money into the sub um, budget line would actually be more beneficial to us, I believe. But as you can see in the budgets that we propose, that isn't possible. So
Our budget, our sub budget actually, I understand what you're saying. It works a little differently though, because we do use it to help our staff take that leave that they're given.
Mhm.
And we can't just use one more person to cover those positions when it's a leave situation. So, and our staff will cover those. I mean, we have specific subs, but we also have staff, current staff who are subs. So it also gives them extra hours on occasion. So all of that is helpful to all of our staff.
Yeah, if you're a 21-hour employee, you can pick up the occasional extra shift as long as we're not regularly scheduling somebody over 30 hours a week, which makes them eligible for the benefits. And as we just said, adding benefits is a wonderful thing. I wish we could give them to all our staff, but it's an extremely expensive thing too. So, other questions so far?
Michael, I have
Yeah.
a question on, you said we would be basically spending out the circulation and program budget for
Yes.
this year. I'm wondering why the digital collection is so far underspent. It's almost 50% of.
It will not be. We can get those items literally in a day. And Sarah's actually, it will not be reflected in this budget that you see here because it's an expense for June as opposed to the end of May. But Sarah's already taken care of that. It will be completely spent out.
Okay, but was
Yeah.
there a reason for the delay or just?
It's not a delay. We space it out over time, and I actually have 3 bills right now that I haven't paid, so they aren't showing in this, for about 30,000 at the moment. So
Okay,
maybe less. I have to look and see, but it's within that range. So we've already spent it. It's just not in the May line
Yeah,
item.
it will be spent. We know that's a high interest area for the public and we want to make sure we're giving them everything that we can. I should also note that a lot of our digital content comes either at the state level or Smyrna also has a substantial budget amount set aside for the Tri-County area. So this is our additions to a lot of content that's already there.
okay.
Yeah.
I just think the digital content is becoming increasingly important as you've pointed out.
It is indeed, and I will have some news about that later.
Good.
Lots happening in the digital content world in libraries right now. Our virtual services, right about, we're on page 3, still about the same. Mobile library, you see it's not a large budget item, and we do budget just in cases, something goes wrong with the vehicle, as occasionally happens, but still at 61%. And a real bargain. The mobile library is just really taking off. We're seeing more and more people on it, greater amounts of circulation. It's really, I think, in addition to digital, one of our huge sort of new successes. Very happy with that. The professional services account at 87%, and that's kind of an area where we hope we're not going to have to spend anything, especially legal services or security. So I hope that will stay pretty much stable. Over on page 4, you see that furniture equipment is at 93%, but we basically said, no more, folks. You've got what you're going to get. Only 43% on the other expenses. Vehicle maintenance, we had to buy new tires for the van. So not an expected expense, but those should last another 5 years, in which case we might be having to get a new van because it's from 2013.
On a side note to that, we actually had that in the budget for FY27, but our tires didn't make it through to June. So it's now out of the budget for 27.
Yes, on a rather rainy day, one of our staff discovered that the tires were not up to snuff. Office supplies, again, another area where we're saying, okay, whoa, please, at 82%. So we're hopeful that, as I say, it's going to be awfully close, but we will not dip into the $50,000 that's allocated from the fund balance. And if you look over on page 6, you'll see that our services and lost and damages income, again, they're not huge amounts, but they did exceed expectations. So and MLGIP interest slightly more than was expected. So we're coming along for the year, and we'll just have to see kind of where we are at the end of it. There will have to be some reconciliation done. Questions? Well, Charlotte Hall renovation update. Smyrla has received a first draft of its facilities master study, which says do not give up any space, and they're not going to give up any space. So we have
John, did you
submitted-
have something to say
Yeah,
about that?
They presented the architects presented the preliminary plan to us at the meeting. And I took some several notes here.
Yeah, if you could tell us about that, that'd be great.
All right, yeah, HBM Architects is the company. They presented 4.
John, can you get closer to the mic?
Can you hear me? And
John, can you move your mic closer so Dorothy
Thank
can
you.
hear you better?
Here we go. They presented 4 scenarios for reconfiguring these existing space and 4 scenarios for the idea of moving to new space. Let's see, they presented a list of items that need to be addressed in the Smyrla space over the next 5 years if they choose to stay. The existing space, according to the architect, will need to be reconfigured on their side. The current layout is not adequate for future staff needs or requirements. The building needs a re-roof according to the architect. There's an ongoing leak in the server room out in the back of the building. And let's see, did not recommend whether to stay or to go. That was outside their purview, but they did say the current location is not ideal. They had concerns about the short and long-term maintenance of the building. So we're expecting it, as Michael said, expecting to get a final report at the end of this month.
And can you tell us a little bit about that they decided they needed all of this space? What factors went into that decision?
Oh, they didn't go into whether to, why they wouldn't change the overall total space used. It was mostly about configuring what they had in that side of the building. It's interesting that we've talked about the big training room, and there, all the 4 scenarios that they proposed involved moving the training room to another spot of the building and using that space for something else. But I mean, the takeaway that I got was that they're basically saying that the staying in that space is not really ideal. Even though no recommendation on whether, I assume that's up to the Smyrla board and Ashley. Ashley did make a visit recently to the location of Western Maryland's Regional Library Association. They have the same arrangement as Charlotte Hall, joint use. And she also wanted to relay the message that she was concerned that going ahead with our side of the building ahead of Smyrla might be a deal breaker for the state in terms of getting funds.
In terms of getting funds for Smyrla, or in
Yeah,
terms of getting funds for
Smyrla, like if Smyrla goes up, she was concerned that it might they might get turned down because of the work to our side of the building. Apparently, the Western Maryland project, wish I knew the exact location. Apparently, they did double dip, pursue at the same time.
And so they were able to move one of the grants to the right time cycle to be able to pursue that.
Being able to have a building that suited both the branch and the RLA office.
So you're saying the coordinated effort at the same time was beneficial rather than handling it as 2 separate projects?
Yeah, that's Ashley's Ashley's feeling. And I know that she and Michael, you've discussed this several times, I think.
And is Ashley coming in July? That was the current schedule. She's coming to discuss this with us about future plans.
All
Okay.
right.
You will be given a copy of the report from HBM Architects, who also did our facilities master study. They're very good. Developments. We have submitted a $3 million grant request for capital funds. I did approach the county executive and say, there's been a lot of talk about having space, extra space at Smyrna, about Smyrna moving out. Smyrna tells me that until the year 2030, they cannot get funding from the state for their aspect of those things. Should we put this project off? And I was told, no, do not put the project off. That this was always conceived of as a separate project, and it is expected that we will move forward with this as a separate project. So we presented our grant request as an independent entity, and that request went in last month, and I've received, as of yesterday, questions back from the grant committee and from the Department of Budget and Management in Maryland, who oversee the giving away of funds. I should say that 9 systems submitted 12 projects for about $17 million. And there's $7.5 million on the table. So we knew competition was going to be fierce. The year we're in now, the Maryland legislature said, oh, and it was about $13.5, $14 million. Oh, you need all that? We're going to give it to you. It's an election year. I'm not certain that's going to happen next year. But maybe there'll be additional money coming back from the state. So their questions were, does the HVAC and roof replacement include Smyrna space? I'm waiting for an answer on the roof replacement, and I've submitted that question to the county. The HVAC system, no, it does not. And the reason why is after we submitted our grant application, the county went ahead and replaced the unit that is over Smyrna, the HVAC system unit that's over Smyrna. So that does not include their space. My understanding from looking at our plans is that they did not go over to Smyrna and look at the roof there. They looked at it over the library. They have built into the plans to take out this drop ceiling and have a different type of ceiling there, and to fix the roof where we are, but I'm waiting for a definitive answer from the county on that. It asked to provide a letter of support from Smyrna, and we have that already. DBM says that this application states the branch is co-located with Smyrna, but the project does not involve that organization, will proceed independently. That was quite deliberate on our part because Smyrna said, we're not sharing space with you. I thought that if we opened it up and said, well, maybe someday this will happen, what will happen will be they'll come back and say, when your plans are final, come back and submit your grant application then. I was concerned that this money is for fiscal year 28 for the library, that if we opted somehow not to use it or to move it back, they might decide they had other uses for it. And as I say, the county executive said, we're expecting this to happen. So it's with any luck going to. So what they wanted us to do is said they had concerns about whether proceeding independently is wise, and we explained that we will explain, and we're still formulating our answer, that the building has substantial issues with it. And so they wanted us to comment on any discussions we had with Smyrna, and if any systems are involved would affect Smyrna, and if the systems are shared in any way. And we've looked at that and said, no, the electric, the IT, the water will remain on, and Smyrna can function. We'll be talking with them regularly, and gave them basically a history of our conversations with them. The next thing they said is the facilities master plan, ours, that we have, calls for either replacing an existing facility of 15,000 to 20,000 square feet or expanding the existing facility by 5,000 to 10,000 square feet. Why aren't you doing that? And we said, and I have this from the county executive, the money's not going to be there. This is the money you've got. This is the money we will allocate. Doing either one of those options would require 4 million more than the 8 million we're asking for. Building a new facility will be about $12 million at least. If it's 20,000 square feet, think more like $18 million under construction costs these days. We see that expanding it by only 1,800 square feet is basically getting us up to the 8 million figure. Think about another 5 or 10,000 square feet outside as construction. So we're just saying that the money is not there and the building has ADA compliance issues. It has construction issues. It's functionally inadequate. We need to move forward anyway. The final thing they say is comment on the feasibility of raising or using institutional funds to supplement available funding in order to fund one of the options identified in the master planning efforts. In other words, why don't you come up with $4 million on top of what the county's given you? And I have explained that we did a capital campaign for Leonardtown. We got about $100,000. In fact, our request is saying we're going to do a capital campaign. We're going to try to raise $100,000. Coming up with 3 or 4 million, I simply think is impossible. So with the competition in place, we'll see what happens with this grant application. It is a solid application. I think the building does need work and needs it now. Would it have been better to wait till 2030 and try to go in something with Smyrla? Possibly. I don't know that we'd have gotten enough for a new building then, but this is kind of where we are. Questions?
This might be more of a question for Ashley, but do you know of any instances where the other counties participating in a regional library association location have chipped in money to help the hosting county?
Yes, that's what happened up in Washington County, is that the library system and the regional, you call it double dipped. I'll use that. That's fine. They come from different funds. So ours is the Maryland State Capitol Libraries. Theirs is a separate state capital fund. So they got, the Western Regional got money from that, and Washington County Library got money from this, and they built a very nice joint facility.
So it wasn't a case of, say, Garrett County or Allegheny County?
No.
Okay.
But I feel like it should be. I think that have we approached Calvert, or has Ashley approached Calvert and Charles? Because if the roof replacement is coming under Charlotte Hall, they're not going to replace half a roof, which means they're going to do the whole roof. And it seems that other counties could chip in.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was an interesting idea because, that their office benefits all 3 counties.
They would have to apply to the capital. And so this is a question for Ashley. They couldn't apply individually to the Maryland State Library Capital Fund and say, we want capital money to spend here. It has to be within their county on their facilities. I've never heard of a regional saying, on behalf of all 3 counties, they simply know when the regional is applying that it is for 3 separate spaces, for 3
No, but
8 counties.
What I heard was, this is a concept thrown out, is not the roof. That's a whole issue for the county to deal with, that roof, the HVAC, everything else in the way they see fit. And we've got Public Works, and that's their business, how do they do it. But if Smyrla needs money to move, and if all 3 counties chipped in $1 million each, and we could say, Smyrla, here's $3 million, now you can move.
Or
that's a way to approach it, is all 3 counties. It benefits Smyrla, benefits all of us. We all chipped in a little bit. It's really pennies on the
So
dollar.
you're-
Then we could
Agreed.
afford, Smyrna could then afford to move, and then we've got the building. It's just a thought, like maybe we need to start thinking outside the box here of how do we all three counties work together for the benefit of all the library system.
Agreed.
So just to be clear, you're suggesting it be the counties and not the county libraries because the county
Yeah, oh, yeah.
libraries don't have the
Yeah,
funding.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely,
absolutely.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think
yeah.
the point I was trying to make is that it looks like St. Mary's County is already giving outside of what the other counties are to maintain the roof of the building that Smyrla is in. So it seems that other counties could be asked to chip in to help with additional renovation of that building.
Sure, sure.
Smyrna
It-
does pay a share of maintenance. So it's not entirely our county doing that. Our county put a new roof on, what was that, 2 years ago, a year ago? 2 years ago. Apparently there's still leaks. So
On that building?
yeah. They
No
put a new
warranty?
roof cover. It's not a
Yeah,
roof.
that should be under warranty.
Yeah, it's a new, like a new roof cover of some
Well,
sort of covering on it. They put on. Apparently that is not solved.
I mean, again, that's public works, but yeah, I think, yeah, if we've been doing this work on this building that Smyrna benefits from, then all three counties benefit from, and we haven't been going to the other counties with the bill. I think they're maybe missing an opportunity here. It might be something, a conversation to have with commissioners, how they feel this politically, if they're willing to do this, or in public works and how they see this working too.
Because hypothetically, Smyrla doesn't have, if they choose to relocate, it wouldn't necessarily be in St. Mary's County.
Right, right.
How do we get these people in the room so it's not like the one-off conversations that have to come back? Is there a way we can have a whole conversation with all of these people, with the public works from every single, or the commissioners from, and the library? Yes, and the libraries or building, because I'm just getting like a little tiny bits of information, and I would like to hear from everyone and brainstorm with a bigger group.
Let's call it a town hall meeting. I mean, I'd be happy to talk to Eric Colvin, who's kind of taking lead, and see what he thinks about this true tri-county approach to this and solutions. Charles or Calvert may have empty county space that they might be willing to let Smyrna move into for next to nothing like they are now. I mean, they don't have to go out and rent or build private space. There may be empty space around.
So do we think that the St. Mary's County Commissioners have those contacts in the other counties? Bring those people to a conversation that we can all be part of?
I don't know. I'll find out. I mean, the legislatures do. The legislators definitely, on the state level, definitely have Southern Maryland delegation regular, meetings and roundtables, and they stay in touch. So the commissioners do. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have some connection. So we're thinking like a commissioner level, public works, and then all three counties and Smyrla
And probably one representative
and the
for
board.
their library.
Well, we can,
I mean, as many as they want to send, but
Yeah,
I know there's
yeah.
some legal question of how many they can have before they.
right, and county administrator and county attorney.
Yes.
I'm thinking like your counterpart.
And I think the problem is who's going to organize the agenda for that?
Well, one problem at a time.
Because
I mean, I'll talk to the
the
commissioner.
problem is,
Yes.
if we do this individually, we're
Yeah,
constantly sort of.
Yes.
yeah, I know.
That's why I think it's best
Yeah.
to have everyone come
In
and
the
talk
room.
at the same time.
Right.
I can put together the agenda for that.
Yeah.
Judith, if you can find out how to
I'll
get.
work with Eric, like, how could we do this so we're all talking together? Because this concerns me, splitting the building in half.
I agree.
I would be really uncomfortable, and I'm not an engineer, about renovating half a building and then 2 or 3 years later going the other half. That doesn't make
And I am
sense
an
to me
engineer.
fiscally or in design wise. The second group's going to come in and go, "You guys messed up this for us. You messed up that for. We have to rip out what you did and redo it." And that's like bad news all the way around. The county put millions of dollars into this building. Now they're ripping it out because it wasn't done right. That's the worst case scenario, and we don't want that. It's the worst of government. It's like parties not talking to each other.
Exactly.
So,
have-
but yeah,
I don't have a good feel for how the rest of the board at Smyrla stands. There's only two other members who have been on as long as I have, and we just brought on like 3 new members.
yeah.
So if you are there and Ashley is there, you think, would that be sufficient to to weigh in with Smyrla's needs and concerns? I mean, we can open it to anybody else, but
Sure.
I think that would kind of be the quorum from Smyrla that I'd want to see.
Yep. Yeah, their current president is Suzanne Darby.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And Suzanne.
Smyrla board. Okay, so
Yes.
all the boards,
Yes.
4 boards.
The county commissioners have already indicated an interest in talking with Smyrla, and I provided the county executive with um, contact information for the state librarian and for Ashley at Smyrla. I'm told by Renee Croft, who oversees this grant process, that the ultimate decision will be with Maryland Department of Budget and Management and not a county. So I think you're going to have to plan this in stages, and go through a whole process. And I anticipate that not happening quickly. But it's um, something that I think is absolutely worth trying. Again, I was told this is an independent project and please move forward. If you can get something at a larger level. My one caution will be that since this will involve spending county funds, you might end up having to make it a public forum. And you can say, here's a public forum for the purposes of this discussion. We've had a very unfortunate public hearing for a discussion of library things 10 years ago now, where it was 3 hours long, and on my part was to play the piñata. So I know you can do it. And I think that a public forum is probably going to be something that would generate some interest and some push from the public behind this idea.
Agreed.
And don't forget the Maryland State Agency is only one way to get funding. The other is legislatively, and having the Southern Maryland delegation go forward in whatever forum they need to and put a line item in the budget for this. And at the end of session, the third way is first way is state agency, second way is legislatively in the budget, and the third way is at the end of session they dump hundreds of millions of dollars on their special projects. I don't know how you get on that list, but Charles County probably has a better chance than we do of, getting extra funding for something. So that's why it's important to bring the 3 counties in and saying if they could get us what is, millions of dollars of taxpayer money, but in the big picture of the Maryland $60 billion budget, it's only our fair share. We get, St. Mary's County gets like 50 cents on the dollar for every dollar we send up in taxes. We don't get our fair share. So I'm not shy about asking for help from the state.
They're also doing, I've been seeing surveys and studies about rural development in Maryland. And so there's been a lot of, from the state level, they've been looking into how to expand services in rural areas so that there may be some path forward there as well.
We're rural. We'll use that word a lot.
So I know there's been, I don't know how many branches have been added to Southern Maryland since that the Charlotte Hall building was built. But the library systems are quite a bit larger than they were 40 years ago.
That's a good point.
Mhm.
Good point. And
That's
the
a good point.
population too.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we have a plan to move forward. You're going to check
Action
in and-
item.
Yep.
I will talk to Eric. I will maybe draft up some points for him. I'll share with you guys and then say what does he recommend for going forward? Or does he have a different recommendation? He might say this is a terrible idea. It's not going to work, but I would cement doing it this way. So.
And I think the message to the commissioners is really that we want to pull all these people in the room to have a discussion. Not that we are like, what if we had the different counties contribute some, but really we want to have everyone in
the conversation.
In the conversation
Yeah.
rather than having
All the
one-off ideas.
Stakeholders.
Yep.
Okay.
Meantime, what's the expectation if you actually get your $3 million grant? What do the grantors expect us to do with it?
They expect us to renovate and expand Charlotte Hall Libraries, our portion of it.
According to the plan that was submitted that we saw blueprints for last meeting.
Yeah, you can't you can't say, oh, I'm going to use the money for something else. You have to do what you say you applied for the grant money for.
And when do we know?
We will not officially know until the state budget passes next year in May, if anything's final. Now, we should, because the committee is meeting now, they should by July, August have given a recommendation. In the past, I've sat on this committee 4 times. We let the libraries know, okay, we are going to recommend some money for you, but it's not official and don't announce it. So we may have some idea by, say, August, but this year I'm kind of seeing they might be playing a little bit closer to the vest. So, but they should, I think we'll have some idea as to any funding we might get by the end of August, and I'll certainly keep everybody apprised of that. And it might be an email.
Michael, if you get the $3 million and implement it, and we subsequently get the rest of the space because of this other meeting, how much of that investment is wasted? Or could you just
None
get
of that investment is wasted at all. We will have an ADA compliant library that is more sustainable environmentally. It will have renovated spaces that will be far more attractive to the public. And frankly, the people up in the northern part of the county often feel they get short shrift.
So
And that was one of the reasons why this money was originally moved from here at Lexington Park, where it was originally proposed, up to Charlotte Hall. Now, what would happen with the rest of the building? We frankly, I'm told by the county, would not have money for a full renovation, but possibly if the whole building were there, they would reconsider. We could use that very effectively as office space. We would move administration there. We would move outreach there, opening substantial room in the Leonardtown Library where we're already basically don't have enough storage space to host operations up there. So it would not be a waste at all.
any other questions about Charlotte Hall?
Let's move on to something you'll probably much rather hear about. Funding for the Lunch and Learn Summer Programming update. So we told you that the school didn't get a grant and they were not going to be participating as they have the last 10 years. So we put out a call to the public and boy, have we got a response. So as I say at the end, next June 18th at noon, the Department of Social Services Advisory Board is going to be bringing by $1,000 worth of donations. The Department of Social Service itself has already given us $1,000. And we can show you the donations here. We have mountains and mountains of food donations, plus about $8,000 or $9,000 in cash donations. Yeah, the community has really responded. We're thrilled. So we are reaching out to area restaurants to fund hot food as well as just snacks. And Mission Barbecue has agreed to one, and we're working with a couple of others. But a number of area kind of businesses have contributed to this.
It's Texas Roadhouse. Sorry, not Mission Barbecue.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're working on Mission, but Texas Roadhouse.
We're working on Mission Barbecue, Texas Roadhouse. Thank you. So we are up and running for this program in a way that we were not expecting, but are extremely grateful for. In many cases, now there's something really selfish about this, okay? We have a lot of kids here in summer. They're much, much better behaved if they're fed than if they're not. You might be shocked to hear that, but we are just amazed and overwhelmed by the generosity of this community and very thankful for that. So questions about that one? I told you you'd like that one better. Okay, so what's happening in the library? Quite a few great things. Mary Ann, I always give credit where credit is due, requested that since what you wanted these was in order of our strategic plan, that we reorganize it that way. I said, okay, fine. I liked picking out and saying, here's what I think is that. But, here we go. So because this budget discussion is going to take some time, rather than run through them in a lot of detail, I would like you to take a look and just say, is there anything you've got a particular question about? Um,
What is anytime content?
Anytime content. Okay, I was going to tell you about that next. So we have the Palace Project app, and I've been involved with the implementation of that since it was called something different for 8 years now. We have racked up a lot of firsts with it. We were the first library in the whole country to deploy an audiobook in it. We were the first library in the whole country to have Amazon and Audible content. We were the first library to put content of our own in it. We've pushed it and we've pushed it and we've pushed it. And our customers have said loud and clear through their behavior, we're sticking with Libby. Okay, fine. We were putting money into Palace for 9,000 anytime audiobooks, 9,000 titles. And we did this when we took away Hoopla, which had anytime titles, because the cost got out of line. It was costing us 80 and 90,000 a year and 300,000 for the region. And it was simply becoming something we could no longer sustain no matter what we did with it. So we put that content in. We're just not getting enough hits against it to justify having it there. So what we found out is that there are libraries who are putting anytime content, audiobooks again, from Blackstone and others into Libby. The problem with it is that it's not nearly as much a bargain as it was for Palace, where we got the 9,000. They're offering suites of 100 or 150 titles. However, we are doing that. So into Libby, we already have, I believe, put some anytime content. No matter how many other people have it out, you as a library customer can check it out. So it's always, always, always there. So that's what that is. It is promoting digital literacy and trying to make sure people can always get digital content.
And is that what's happening with digital also? Or did you have additional input for that?
I'm sorry, your question is?
Oh, so you also had next on the agenda, what's happening with digital in the county and library? Is that
Does
what
anybody
that
want
is?
to ask anything about these various library things? I mean, you just look at it and see how much we're doing. I mean, for the staff we have, this library is incredibly active and really puts a lot of work out into things. No. Okay, so that's something that was happening here locally. I'm continuing my efforts, and we had one today, the digital shelf, which is actually international. We're getting people from Europe and Canada attending. Series of webinars about all aspects of library digital content. So here's two things that are happening that are of great significance. The District of Columbia ENIUS eBook Fairness Act has been signed into law. So just DC, they have a rather large library that has a fair amount of money, has signed a law that says to the big five publishers, and that's who it's aimed at, the smaller library publishers, give us ebooks at very favorable terms. $10, you get it forever. The big five do not. So the best deal we have from the big five is 26 circulations, and then it goes away. And if you want it again, you buy another 26 circulations for about $35 to $40. You can get a 1 or 2 year contract, but then it goes away for somewhere between 50, depending on some of these audiobooks for 2 years are $135. So it's becoming increasingly unsustainable for libraries to maintain digital content in a time when that's the highest demand thing we've got in some cases. So this puts forward a law that says the following. We're not telling you you have to charge something, which is where the law we had in Maryland kind of went aground constitutionally. But if you want to deal in Washington, D.C. libraries, you will meet reasonable terms, and you cannot restrict us from doing interlibrary loan outside our system of the titles we get from you. And you cannot restrict us from telling other libraries how much we're paying and what our contracts are. And if you offer us a, call it 1 year or 2 year deal, you also have to offer us a perpetual access option. That might cost more money, but you can't just say, we're restricting you to 26 circs or restricting you to 1 or 2 years on our ebook content. Now, it has a trigger in place. So it will be triggered when 10 states with a total population of $50 million pass similar laws. Connecticut already has. And as of yesterday, Rhode Island, their legislature passed out of it with one negative vote. One senator voted no for some reason, a similar law. Similar laws in place in New Jersey and Illinois. So it's going to take a couple of years probably, but there's a lot of other states that are interested. And I think that this is a significant movement in libraries. I've been advocating this space for a long time now, and this is kind of the first time I'm getting hopeful that real change can happen. As enough libraries have said, we just can't do it anymore. So that's what's going on nationally. And we keep you updated on readersfirst.org. Questions about that one?
Is Maryland pushing for this kind of legislation? You said 10 states. This says DC.
Yeah, and it's not Maryland, it's DC. But so now we've got 3. I've asked, I'm hopeful that they'll consider it again, seeing this trigger law in place. Frankly, for being the first state to pass this, now granted with a sort of form that didn't stand up constitutionally, these new laws pass constitutional tests. They do not impinge upon copyright. Will Maryland do this? I hope so. Any number of library directors in Maryland in the MAPLA organization have said, no, we're afraid we'll get shut out. And they won't deal with us, which is why these trigger laws are in place. I'm hopeful with trigger laws in place that Maryland will join. That will be for the upcoming budget session. We'll be talking about that this summer. Thank you.
And then you had an Compliance with Freedom to Read Act.
I'm sorry?
You had the Compliance with Freedom to Read Act under information
Yes,
as well.
I'm going to be adding that. I'll just read to you a letter from the Maryland State Librarian. Congratulations! The Maryland State Library agencies reviewed your collection and reconsiderations policies and determined that you are in compliance with COMA Regulation 14380201, the Freedom to Read Act. This letter serves as official notice of the acceptance of these policies. Policies will be reviewed annually. Please maintain a copy of this document for audit purposes. So those of you who weren't on the board yet, Maryland did pass a Freedom to Read Act, and it required all public libraries to implement policies in compliance with it. I am proud that we were the first library to do so. Before the governor even signed it, because it was an act. As soon as both legislatures passed it, it's a law. We instantly came to the board, and said, hey, here's the changes we want. And those were implemented. And so, yes, we are in compliance with this. They'll continue to look at us, but it was really easy because we just took these sections of the law and put it right into our policies. So if I were to tell you that we are in compliance with one of the many things the state looks at.
All right, I think this is a good time to take a break.
He just had one more item, I think staff day.
Oh, staff day is under action. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think this is a good time to take a break. So let's take a 5-minute break
Sure.
and
If
come
you
back
haven't done so,
after.
you might consider walking over to look at the soon-to-be makerspace.
Mhm.
Are we started again?
It looks like it. We are back and
With,
we're
with
going
your
to,
permission, I'd like to shift the order slightly because two of these should be really easy and one's going to take quite a bit of time.
sure.
So let's do the really easy ones first. Um, the first one is your calendar year meetings for 2027. And we like to do those because already the library's planning for use of the meeting rooms in December, January. And we just like to get you locked in. You have cunningly got around one of the biggest problems by not meeting on Monday or Friday when they're off on holidays. However, we do have one conflict, and that's Thursday. Your meeting would have been on Thanksgiving Day, so I didn't think you'd want to meet then. Um, it would have been November
Wait,
20.
isn't it? I thought it was Veterans Day. Yeah,
Yeah, Veterans Day.
Veterans Day.
Oh,
is the other-
Veterans Day. Okay, you're right. Yeah, it would have been Veterans Day. My mistake. Sorry. Yeah, so it would have been the 11th, and the library's closed that day. So I didn't think that you'd want to move it up a week because you had already met on October 14th. So I propose moving it back a week. There is precedent for not meeting in a month. So you could just say we don't need to. My concern about that is we already have started the audit process. And we are determined that you'll be able to approve the audit, even if it means having an extra meeting in October before November 1st. It's not a particularly great concern, but that would be all right. In the past, we've sometimes missed that. Um, so my question to you is, everything else seems pretty standard. Um, Belinda points out to me that I've got it on October 14th in Charlotte Hall, and if we do move forward with renovation, will be done then. The construction schedule says yes, so we'll change that if we have to. Do you want to move that meeting back to a week, or do you want to just say for November, hey, let's not do it? Or what? You can change this later, of course. I'm simply curious about what you would like to do.
So for people who are new, we are required by law to meet 10 times per year.
And publicly publish our meeting dates.
Yes.
Well, we can change them. I think we try to do it at least 7 days ahead, if not a little more than that.
Mhm.
I think that's maybe happened once. I'm fine with the 18th in November. It's fine with
Mhm.
me. I mean, I checked all these dates. I'm fine with all of them.
This is fine with me. Any? Well, Bob's already updated his phone, so I think we're accepting that schedule. Thanks.
Would that be a yes vote?
Do we have to vote on that?
Yeah, I think we do.
Okay.
We have in the past, so I move that we
Sure.
accept this schedule as presented.
Judith moves and Chuck seconds. All in
Dorothy, are you
favor?
still there?
Oh, yeah. Dorothy, are you back? It looks like she dropped off. There she is. So Dorothy, we are talking about the proposed meeting schedule for 2027 and just making sure no one has any conflicts or major concerns with this, with the understanding that it could be changed later if we ran into some problem. Do you have any challenges with this, or are we good to go?
I'm fine. I don't know what happened. I went on YouTube. I don't know what happened on this one, but anyway.
We can't hear you, Dorothy.
But-
We can hear you, but it's very, very quiet, so you weren't muted.
Oh, okay. I had to go to YouTube. I don't know what happened. I lost the entire session apparently. So now I'm back on Zoom. So can you hear me?
We're trying to figure out how to make you louder in the room, Dorothy. Give us just a minute.
Can you chat? Yes, a yes vote or a no vote or a concern?
Okay. Yeah. So the only thing that I'm not sure also how you might have gotten kicked off the call, but the only thing that we have done since we came back was to discuss the meeting schedule. And we're trying to make sure no one has any major conflicts or concerns with the 2027 meeting schedule that's proposed on the second Thursdays of next. Chuck, do you have your teaching schedule for 2027 yet? Do you have your teaching schedule for 2027? There's no conflict.
I don't know what that's gonna be,
Okay,
so don't worry about it.
okay.
These will be fine.
I'm fine with the
The
schedule.
only issue I may have is Charlotte Hall I may ask that we delay it till 3:15 if I'm.
It's very similar
coming
for
from
me.
St. Mary's.
Hard to get up there. So yeah.
She typed she was okay with it.
Okay, perfect. All in favor of the meeting schedule as proposed?
Aye.
Fantastic. Up next,
The
I'm assuming
staff
staff.
day, for those of you new to the board, we do ask the trustees to close the library one day in a year. It's the first Friday in December. We have an all-staff meeting here at Lexington Park, to which you are invited. And in the morning, we have meetings and trainings. And in the afternoon, we do team building exercises. And it is much looked forward to by staff, except for the people who organize it, because it's a lot of work. So I ask that you please vote to close the library on December 4th, 2026 for our staff day.
I'm sorry, what's the date? Sorry.
December 4th,
December 4th.
the first Friday in December, yes.
Yeah, I move that we close the library December 4th, 2026 for staff day training.
And I'll second that.
So Judith moves and Chuck seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Dorothy, can you give us a mic check for just a minute?
Hello?
Perfect. That's
okay.
much better. Thank you. All right, up next is the
Next
fiscal
is the
27 budget.
You have 3 budget alternatives presented to you. And I'd like to review the first one in some detail in comparison to this year's budget, just to tell you where the money is going. And then the next 2 will just talk about how they're different from option number 1. So thank you, county commissioners and county citizens. The county is giving us this upcoming fiscal year, $457,951 more than we have this current fiscal year. From the state, the increase is $28,186. So the total increase will be $486,137. So basically between that and playing around a little bit with what donations might be, what the lost items might be, that kind of thing. We're putting together a budget with an increase for you. So we'll look at option 1 first, and you did get provided with a full every line item. Here's what's different. And I don't want to go into it to that level because A will be forever and B, you'll all fall asleep or start throwing things at me. So we'll just say that the first group is personal services. That is up $390,445. That is obviously the bulk of what we were given. That is in line with what the county did give us money for. They specifically said, okay, COLA step, budget adjustment of 3.66. Here's what the library gets based on what it has right now. So they gave us that money. We've used it for salaries as they suggested. This number doesn't change. It's in all 3 options. And I would like you to consider keeping it. As everybody is aware, we're in a time of substantial increase in expenses. And we feel that this will give the library staff reason to know we are looking out for them and doing our best for them. On a basic librarian salary, living in St. Mary's County is extremely difficult. So I do ask that you keep this in mind as we look at all these options. The next option is health insurance. And it looks like we're asking for an increase of $39,000. That's a little deceiving. This budget does say that you are, as you previously voted, giving $50,000 from the investment fund. I mean, yeah. Okay, sure.
Increase of $390,425.
Yes. Hmm.
But when I'm looking at the percentage column, there's such disparity between the branches. Oh, Alexi's going up 11.2%. Leon's going up 1.2%. Paul is 7.6, and the admin staff is 17.5%. Why such a disparity in the increases?
Because our staff moved through the year. So this one was based on, the FY26 budget was based on June of 2025, and our staff have moved around, left, new people. So the changes reflect exactly who is on staff right now. And this is what it looks like. They move. And so, for example, we had in 2025 late summer, we had our long-term assistant branch manager at Leonardtown leave. She'd been here for 10 years. So we replaced her with Atina, who you met, who is a new assistant branch manager. So she had 10 years of salary increases. Atina starts at step one. So that salary went down after the budget was created. We just moved staff this past week, which is why I updated those salaries. So we moved staff from Lexi to Leonardtown, and Leonardtown to Lexi. And based on number of years of service, even though we have, we were hiring a librarian, we would start a new person at step one. But if we're transferring somebody because they made the job, they might be at a step 5 or even a librarian 2. So the people move and their salaries go with them. And this was reflecting what's happening right now.
And are you adding any new staff?
One new staff member at Mobile Services is a new librarian for the outreach.
You're hiring a new person.
Yeah.
Brand new.
And that comes under the admin
Which
salaries.
explains that percentage increase. It's an unusual thing. The reason for the hires, we currently have 3 people for outreach. And if you look at the libraries around us, they have not only 2 or even 3 vehicles, but as many as 4 to 6 staff. And we want at least 2 people going on every trip. And so as that service expands, we simply need one more person who will be in outreach and on the mobile library. So that's the reason for that hire.
Right. My concern is the commissioner said they would not fund any new hires. That was a line they drew in the sand. They would not pay for new hires.
But they did at other,
They
they did at other
basically
departments.
did.
What, is it
Other agencies are getting some new hires.
So is it apparent that this is not just COLAs and raises, it's a new hire to the commissioners?
Yeah.
I don't want this to come back and bite us that we did a new hire without being very transparent about this.
Well,
It was in the request.
it was in the request.
A new hire.
Yeah.
Okay, if it was in the request, additional body.
It was in the budget. And also they did hire new hire. They did do new hires across several departments. And once the money is ours, it's ours to choose what we do with. And we did the letter of their request, the 2% COLA, the 3% market increase, and the step.
So the funding is not that we're saying it's in addition to that money they gave us, something over that. We're saying, all right, you gave us this, here's how we want to use it.
No, I understand
Yeah,
that process. I just,
Yeah.
I'm concerned that we're transparent with them on our budget request that we would hire an additional person. That was in there. Okay, that's good.
So
Okay,
thank you for that
sorry.
question. It's a very good one. And we appreciate that and ask all questions here. So as I was saying, it's a little bit funky looking because we are assuming that 50,000 is in fact coming from that investment fund. So that's 50,000 less. In fact, the increases in health insurance are at $89,000. If you looked at comparing Lexi Leon Hall admin to previous years, they're up 89,000. we are expecting an increase in those costs. What we may not have to pay will be the health clinic admin fees. In previous years, we've always gotten a refund. Well, a couple years we had to pay extra, but we've gotten a refund on what we've paid for the health insurance cost, and that has covered that health clinic insurance admin fee. So we may not end up having to pay that. But yes, we are expecting a large increase there.
What does the health clinic cost us in FY26?
We don't know yet.
Do you just get one invoice at the end of the year, or are we billed periodically?
No, we get one invoice at the end of the year. They do a calculation and send us one at the end of the year. We do not have it yet, nor do we have our health refund. So we won't know even for FY26 yet whether or not the health refund and what's left from last year's health refund will cover it, but we suspect it will. But again, I don't have numbers. So
Right. Last year we got a refund and we put it immediately towards paying the next
Exactly,
year's
yeah.
that we were already in that
Mhm.
fiscal year.
we put it towards that FY25's fiscal admin fees, and we got more back than we owed. So there is still some that the county is holding for us for this year's. It won't cover this year's, so we need the new refund. We have been told that we should be getting one, but we have not been given numbers yet.
So it's pretty normal that, although we'd be paying a certain amount to have our employees as part of that clinic, that we also get a refund because
Yes.
those are costs that don't go to the health insurance company.
That's right.
In the last 10 years, we've had a refund 8 times and had to pay out twice. So it's more typical that we do get a refund. It kind of depends on what health insurance costs are. We'll see. I'm expecting, based on what we've heard, that we probably will.
I know from personal experience that we go to the on-site clinic where I work, that that does not go through the insurance company.
That's nice.
I just have trouble with signs and the numbers. The OPEB, is that income coming from the fund? Or is that?
No, that's what we are.
Our expense.
That's what we are paying out of the library budget. 50,000 is coming from the fund as previously voted.
I'm sorry. So the FY 28 budget says $90,000. We're using $90,000 of our
Currently, the library is paying out $90,000.
The OPEB.
Yeah. Yes.
Account.
Yes.
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 Well,
That's why I'm having trouble.
Wait,
with
okay,
so
signs.
yeah, go ahead, Belinda.
The OPEB for FY26 is paid for from operating funds from the library in full. That is $90,000. You, as the board, have told us that you will give us 50,000 for FY27. So that reduces our 90,000 out of the operating budget to 40,000. So what you're seeing, that 40,000 is what the operating budget will pay. You will pay from the Vanguard account 50,000, and that's not reflected in our budget because this is an operating budget, not the OPEB budget.
So the 50,000 is income to your budget.
Yeah,
From
it
our,
will be.
from our other.
And it should be on the
It will
left.
be, and I think,
It
I
will-
didn't see
it's-
it. I think we need to have on our income lines,
Okay.
we need to have an OPEB Vanguard now line on income, because in coming years, it may or may not be
Yes.
income. So
We can do that.
I'm not sure how this balances because we should show,
Because
we're still
not-
paying, we're still paying 90 for OPEB, approximately.
Right.
in
So
FY
what I
27,
would do
but-
is that if that's what you want, if you want an income line to match this, which I didn't put in here, I can do that. But there will be an income line of 50,000 in the other page, and this will remain at 90.
Yeah, the cost is still 90. It's just coming from two different sources.
Yeah, but the
Yep.
budget still balances.
That's what we need
Yeah.
to show.
And-
It doesn't
and
change the totals.
I have is we're trying to sort of do this.
Yeah,
And that's why I said my difficulty was with signs.
yeah.
If we just, if you just did it as income of $50,000.
I can do that.
And left this number as 90,
Mhm.
it would have made, I got it now. Okay.
Well, hang on to that thought because I'm going to be asking to completely change it.
I know that's also going to be up for a tough chain.
Yeah.
But that's also why it's important that we reflect it as it is.
So
We know what we're changing.
So I will, whatever you choose to do, if you pass a budget today or not, I will add an income line of 50 or whatever.
Or whatever.
And return that to 90,000 when I present it in July.
And if you did that, then the difference would be $89,000.
That's correct.
Which would really reflect what the difference is.
That's correct.
Perfect.
Well, Linda says, whatever you do today, you have two options. You can pass a budget today and based on, all right, we'll add that line, or you can meet again in June because before July 1, we have to have a budget.
That's different. I was working on, as I said, signs.
Okay.
I can do that.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
At the bottom of page 1, you'll see stuff for family tax. The library is not going to have to pay anything yet, we're told, but we believe that employees may have to start paying, and that's still an option, that's still kind of up in the air. But it should not affect the operating budget. Over on page 2, lines that are kind of highlighted with a slight color are changes. So you see that we are increasing the Lexi Electric by 22,000, the Lexi Gas by 8.5 thousand. So 29,413 up there. The Leon Electric's going up 10, Leon Gas is going up 8, so 18,550 there. Hall Electric's going up $8,000. Hall Landscaping down $2,000. So we're up $54,963 there, but we did get 50,000 from the county earmark for utilities. Over on page 3, we got $50,000 for the collection. Under this budget line that is built into the circulation collection, we're talking books. We want more books. The digital collection is actually reduced under this particular budget line, and so are program services by 24,000 and by 5,000. This is kind of what we're having to do to balance it out. It's not our only option, so I ask that you not yet say, hey, what's wrong with this? We have 2 more to go. Mostly everything else is very similar. Virtual services is reduced 2,000. Mobile libraries reduced 1,000. Professional changes is exactly this. I'm sorry, professional services about on page 3 is exactly the same. It's up a little bit here, it's down a little bit there, but we're talking 1,000 here, 1,000 there. Over on page 4, other expenses are up $5,409. That's for the insurance increase from 30,000 to 35,000. That's going to be because you want to have that insurance fund in case one of our libraries would be utterly destroyed.
So we got it, because I missed a meeting, so we got a new policy or additional policy.
We're still in the talks, but we're working on it. We are going back and forth with the broker, and we got to use our inventory to kind of determine what the cost is. So this is an estimate of what I think it might cost us. But we're still working on creating the contract, but it is in the works.
So it's the cost of replacing the contents of one branch.
Yeah.
One branch.
Yes.
Say this
Maybe-
branch, yeah, or Leonardtown. Yeah, the books, the
Yeah.
computers, the
So
furniture.
we only lose one branch at a time.
Yeah,
We hope.
everything within, it's not like the whole
Right.
thing is gone. If
Yeah.
every library is this way, then we've got a much bigger problem than insurance.
Okay.
So furniture equipment is down $14,000. Library staff, please be gentle with your library furniture. The good news is that it's built to last, and we don't think we're going to have to spend a lot of money on that. Technology is up slightly in our IT contract services by $13,000. And it's down 10,000 for IT F&E. So we're a total of there of about $5,000. So no change on page 5. The one other thing to look at over on page 6 is the use of fund balance. This calls for the same thing we have this year, use of the fund balance of $50,000 as contingency.
What is
Have
the,
have we used the fund balance?
We have not used any of the fund balance yet.
I still won't know though until the end.
Yeah, we'll know at the end of this month if we've used any of the fund balance.
No,
Again, we've
probably
not even
closer to the audit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have some idea, but expenses come in that have to go back to this fiscal year that we pay in July. According to the audit, so Belinda is absolutely correct. We will know when we get the final audit if we've actually dipped into the fund balance or not. We're trying not to.
Michael, what is this investments line under the other income?
That's from the MGLIP account.
Okay.
It does earn interest. Less now than it was, but it does earn interest. So that's option 1. Let's go ahead and take a look at option 2 and we'll just review where it's changed. No change under personnel services, and those will remain the same throughout all. There is a substantial difference under health insurance. You'll see there's no charges listed there. That's because we are asking in this budget for you to give $90,000 out of the investment. So that's saving $40,000. Where are we putting that $40,000? No changes until page 3. On page 3, the digital collection is going up $10,000. The only other change on page 6 is that the use of fund balance is reduced to $20,000, totaling that $40,000 savings.
So digital is going up from the option 1, 56,000.
Going up $10,000.
But in FY26, it was $80,000.
Yes, it is lower in both instances. Wait till number 3. But that's where that budget difference from budget number 1.
Okay.
Budget number 3. Yes.
The programs went up by, the total expense went down by.
Well, we got an additional 40,000 from the OPEB investment, and yes, so yes, exactly. We
Spent 10,000 and 30,000.
The use of fund balance, yes. That's the only changes there. On number 3, also calls for a use of $90,000 from the fund balance, but there are other differences. On page 3, the book collection goes up to $340,000, so an additional $20,000. And that's up 70 over fiscal year 26. The digital collection goes up 70 to 70,000, which is down 10,000 still from the current amount, but is an increase over the other 2 budgets. Program services is up 17, and that puts it $2,000 above the other options. The other change over on page 6 is use of the fund balance. back up to $50,000.
And Michael, you also missed on page 2, there are the highlighted utilities.
yes,
There are
sorry,
slight changes in
There's an
the,
additional $1,000 each in utilities.
On option 3.
An option 3, yes.
gives me a little bit more buffer in utilities, not quite as tight to what I hope it's going to be.
Just in the total,
Yeah.
we'd see.
Mhm.
Okay.
Look like the utilities went up by 4,000.
That's correct. Yes.
And like the program.
That is also correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Related.
Yes. Yeah. And the other change there is, again, the use of the fund balance back up to 50,000 where it is this year.
Yes.
So those are the 3 budget options that have been prepared for you. I wish to recommend budget number 3.
That's what I was expecting.
It does have a substantial increase in our print budget. And if you look at the reasons why people come to this library, which I've shared recently in another document, they do want books. And it has been pointed out by one of you in a separate email to me that our collection in print lags behind some libraries of our size. So I'd very much like to address that. It does, as do all these budgets for that matter, reflect the difficulties, current economic difficulties, and the high cost of living in St. Mary's County for library employees. In the past, I have opted not to take a raise. I will do that again if necessary, but I would prefer that we reward our employees as all 3 budget lines request.
The only question in my mind is option 3 has us increasing utilities by $4,000. The utilities are either going to go up or they're not. And so to consider any of the options, there should be an increase in utilities by $4,000.
There is an increase in utilities, and we talked about that under budget 1. We are increasing the utilities. So budget 3 is 4,000 over what our increase is.
Yes.
But the increase is for $54,963. And so what option 3 would have $58,963 over what they are now.
The point is it'll be the same on all 3 options, whichever one we pick.
Well, Belinda just explained that what she would like is, I think we'll get away with that, but this kind of will make more likely that we'll get away with that.
And if we don't need that much money, would that then go into collections?
Yes. If we have extra money, it can. Sometimes we can move money into digital digital content easily at the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, if we don't spend, we'll put it towards something.
The utilities are going to be what the utilities are. And they may be much more than you already budgeted, in which case, will that money come from collections or from some other place?
No, we try, as we're going to do this year, we're going to spend the collection money and we're going to spend the salaries.
Okay.
Something else we'll have to give. We hope it's not the fund balance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, to clarify, you can't take utility money and spend it on the collection without a reprogramming by the board.
Yes, exactly. And we would
So
ask
they would
you
have to come back and say, we have a lot of extra money here and we'd like to buy more books.
Yeah,
But
we
it
will
doesn't-
certainly.
It's not automatic.
No, we don't just say, hey, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
No, we do ask for changes in budget lines when those are
I mean,
necessary.
I think it's great that you added a $4,000 additional piece, but I think that it's going to be the same for any of the 3 options we
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
So is your question, can we, the board, amend this budget request, reduce those by 4,000 and put 4,000 into the digital collection? Yes, you can say that right now. You can say, I move to approve, and this is not, I'm not a member of your board. I move to approve budget 3 with this change.
Yeah, that was really what I was leading to.
Okay.
Which is Why don't we put 40,000 into collections?
Okay, 4,000.
The collections going up, I'm sorry, by 40,000 in option 3. That is, there's a total of $50,000 to be messed with. And 4,000 of it is being spent on utilities and 36,000 of it is being spent on quote programs.
Let's take a step back and talk about the major differences. And I think the major difference is how much of OPEB we're willing to contribute to.
Right.
So let's start there. I think that's the bigger question.
Well,
We
that's
agreed
fine.
to 50,000 because that makes all the difference. If you decide not to spend more than 50,000, you don't have that to play with.
Right.
So let's start with OPEB.
I was
Discussion.
working on the difference between option 3 and the other option.
Right.
That's all.
Yep, absolutely. So let's start with the discussion about OPEB. I'm interested in hearing everyone's thoughts.
What did the fund grow in the last one?
I should have come prepared for that. I don't have a year over year yet because it hasn't been a full year. But I want to say we've gained 200,000 plus since we went in last June or something like that. It's been a good growth. It reflects the market. We went from 40 something up to 50 now. So it's been, yeah, I think it's been it was a good choice for the board. We spent a lot of time thinking about it. We also saved $10,000. We paid the middleman. And I know it's been an over $200,000 growth. So I think we're at 1.6 now.
Wouldn't be profligate of us to spend an additional $50,000.
90,000 would be about 0.6% of what we've got invested. So that's not significant.
Right. It's not.
I mean, we're making way more than that.
Right. 10% would be 150 or 160. And if you did half of that. So, well, half of that would be more like 75. So we're a little over the 5%. We're at 6%, right? Is that what you said? 6%?
Yeah.
So generally, yeah, it depends on how long you want your fund to last. So, my thoughts are I hesitate on it. It's the first year we've done this. And when we go this way, you can't go back, because if we don't do it again, it's like taking a $90,000 hit to your budget next year, or 40,000 or 50,000. So I'm more comfortable stepping in with the 40 and we'll see how it goes. And then
50.
The 50, sorry,
Yeah.
the 50. Yeah. And see how it goes and give us another year of growth and see how the budget works out. It wouldn't be a killer because we could vote next year to give them nothing or half it or whatever. If say the market tanks and we're like, we're not sure we want to do this, but it does create a hole in the budget. You've now created this ceiling and you're going to come down off that ceiling. So
We are aware of that and know that next year this could be nothing. We will, if we get nothing and no county increase and no state increase, which I frankly think is probably unlikely, but who knows what the budget's going to be bringing us, then we'll have to make adjustments. We made this budget fully aware that you have voted to make it a variable and not a standard amount.
My feeling is, even though this money is going to personnel matters, it's money that would otherwise be taken from the collection, possibly. So I'd be more interested in providing another $40,000 if it guaranteed a big chunk of that was going into the collection. Because that money's got to come from somewhere. It's either coming out of the operating expenses or it's coming from us. And the purpose of the fund is to pay for those expenses.
So there's a couple things to note that I think are worth bringing up. I think I want to highlight what Judith said about thinking for 28. We're not going to lower salaries in 28. What we're giving here is the baseline of like the minimum of what we would be having for salaries in 28. Utilities are definitely not going to be a less in 28. So that question of if the market tanks and we lose the value in the OPEB, how much budget room have we left for 28 to play with? Those numbers now being the solid line is in question. The other thing is that something to look for that I have seen over the past 6, how long have I been here? I don't even know. A long time. Friends of the Library donations are typically easily expended for things like furniture and collection. We can't use Friends of the Library for things like salaries and for OPEB. But it is always, every year I have been here has been far above what is budgeted. So the collection isn't necessarily just confined to the line item, because we do have that Friends of the Library that may come in higher, is most likely to come in higher. Dorothy, do you?
I think the county could, we'll see this next year that we're beginning to self-fund OPEB, and they'll just cut us the 40,000. I mean, that will happen next year. They're going to see it. That's fair.
The county provides no funds for health insurance. They never give us the increase for the health insurance at all. And actually the salaries portion that we have isn't funded by that.
I'm not sorry. I said the OPEB. So when they say we have a $90,000 line item for OPEB and now it's 40.
She just said the county doesn't fund any of it.
They don't.
It comes out of operating.
We've asked for
It comes out of the
asked for
state.
increases in the OPEB over and over, and they never give us anything. Yes, it's a line item, but they don't see that in the budget request I make to them.
I know what you're saying. You're saying the OPEB, but that whole health insurance section, obviously it isn't funded at all by the county for us. So even the employees' health insurances aren't funded by the county. We're pulling that from the state portion or what's left.
So you don't put it in what you submit to the county.
It's in there. They just never give us the extra.
So whether we cover it or not, doesn't matter
Yeah, it's never.
what they're going to give us.
Dorothy, did you have any thoughts or questions? I want to make sure we leave room for you to talk if you want to.
Not at this time.
I guess I'm not so worried about it being 0 this year and having it to be 90 next year, because we have indicated that it's variable. And it seems to me that if we have an opportunity to do this year, we might want to take it. And I agree with you. We could be conservative and say, well, let's do 50 instead of 90. But it seems to me that there's a real benefit to be had by doing 90 and using that money for library programs now, at a time when the market has allowed us. We're not putting the OPEB fund at risk by not funding it for a year.
No.
It's, I guess, my only thought, but I'm not hard on that notion. It just seems to me that this may be an opportunity for us to do something that would have benefit this year, and with the full knowledge that we might not do it again next year.
Does our Vanguard fund allow for the option of moving funds over to bonds if there is an issue happening with the market?
We do have, we're a 65-35 split. That's how the Wellington Fund is designed exactly for this purpose. So it's for a retirement fund. So it's 65-35 stocks and equities. So yeah.
So we have that.
So that's why it lags behind a little bit of the market growth, because we take a conservative approach, which almost every retirement fund investment is voted to, and that's in our investment policy that we do that.
So I guess my question is, if we don't fund the extra 40,000, does that mean we don't have the 30,000 for the collections?
Yes, that's correct. The only option if you don't fund is option one,
So
because I
We're
could not,
effectively giving that money to the collections, not to health insurance.
right? It's
Because
right.
otherwise it would come out of the budget.
Yeah, I couldn't make a second option for not funding the any more, like only funding 50,000. There was nowhere else I could move money. I did the max of everything if I still have another 50,000 in there.
I hate to be niggling, but I need us to all say 90,000 or 50,000 will fund the retirement health benefits and not the collection.
Correct. But
Yeah, yeah.
in
It
effect-
funds the retirement health benefits, freeing money for something else.
And-
For the
Yeah,
collection.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Bob, that's legally important because it is a, what's the word again? When it's like designated, that is a designated. It
No,
can't be
you
spent
can't
on
use this money for anything else.
The net effect is the same.
Yeah, in effect, it is the same. Yeah.
The flip side of that I'm thinking of right now, Judith, for the question of increasing collection for this year is that economically it is very, very hard for people. And we would probably see that people who previously had some kind of subscription or previously had bought books would come to the library more during an economic downturn. That's typically what you see. So it does make sense in that case to take the gigantic stock market growth that we've had and transfer that to collections
To the
as a
OPEB
surge in
to
collections.
the OPEB line that frees
Right.
up money
Yes.
for the collection.
Yes. So then
Yeah.
it becomes a surge in collections that
Mhm.
would be potentially just a single year surge
Mhm.
to combat the economic challenges that people are facing with
Mhm.
high inflation right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think anybody's predicting a downturn next year, but you never know. You never know.
Warren Buffett is.
You
There's
never
a
know,
few.
right?
There's quite
Yeah,
a few,
yeah.
actually.
Chuck, it sounded like you were proposing like an option 4, which would be to use the same numbers for the utilities as options 1 and 2, but keeping the other numbers from option 3. Is that what you're proposing, or at least for discussion?
Yeah, I mean, basically it's a small modification to option.
Yes, so
Rather than provide in advance additional utilities beyond what you've already provided, that money would go into collections or programs.
and you want it specifically to go into digital?
No, that's
Okay. All right.
from my point of view.
All right.
Where it goes
Okay.
is a different.
It will go into the collections area.
You gotta
Yeah.
use it by the services that we're on, as opposed to providing for a fund that seems to be doing okay right now.
So is that a motion or?
No,
Michael, give us a minute to talk about it. You're not a part of our board.
It's your time. Take as much time as you like.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just doing some calculations on here. See, it is.
I want to make
Yeah.
sure that Judith's point is heard, because I think it's also a really good point, which is we've done, let's do a little bit and see how it goes. But I feel like maybe there's a case to be made that this year we could take a risk and without killing ourselves.
And
It's like 5.6%, which I think is a fair amount to withdraw if you wanted to draw down your investments and not run it to zero. You're not touching the capital if it was that situation. We're just doing the gains.
I think the only question I have about that is, Belinda, if you can help me understand the difference between both of these two that both take 90,000 out of the OPEB.
2 and 3.
Yes.
2 and
So you have two options that take 90,000 out of the OPEB, but one draws down the fund or has a bigger line item for the fund balance that is essentially going into more utilities and into,
Right. So
how does that work?
What I did, the two options, the significant difference was the fund balance choice. Like if because we've talked about how you don't want us, we've mentioned that maybe we shouldn't rely on the fund balance as much.
Mhm.
So I gave you an option where the fund balance was as low as I could make it. And so with that, can't add I only have 20,000 or 20,000 or so to add into the other lines. And so I added those into the digital and the collection line, or the digital line and I can't remember.
No, the digital line is reduced.
So then
No.
it's
not
the-
not on option 2. So and then if I can keep the fund balance at the same amount of 50,000, then that whole amount that you're giving me of 40,000, I can distribute more into collections, and more into a couple other little line items that I just added. So that's the difference is, I can reduce the fund balance so that we are having less to rely on as a backup, or I can keep the fund balance the same as I had for option 1 and redistribute the funds.
And just to reiterate, the fund balance is essentially like if you had a personal budget at home, it's like the available that's for budgeting for next month in case the bills come in at a different time than the income. So then I guess the next major question I see between these two is keeping the fund balance budget allocation the same or making it less. Which this year we were able to, at least so far, haven't touched it at all. But like, understand you still have a couple months to make sure
It's
to
going to
see
be
where that-
tight. I can't promise that we're not touching it. But again, like last year, we only touched 17,000 of 100,000 fund balance that we were going into. So I'm really trying to keep it as low as possible. But because of the health insurance and the utilities this year, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
The audit last year showed the fund balance was like 300 some thousand.
Well, that includes a lot of other factors,
I
the
mean, but
state
that-
retirement
that's it's a
and
shot in the
you're
dark.
in for
It
your
shows you,
money.
like, at one point in time, that's what it was
Right.
when they do this financial statements.
Well, you get the official,
Just so you have an idea of what
you,
we're
you
talking
get the
about.
official fund balance every month, and it's currently about $490,000.
It does vary.
Which is about a month plus a little bit of operating expenses.
Is that invested in any way? The fund balance?
Does
Most
it
of
get
it's in the
interest, right?
MLGIP account, which does earn interest.
How much? I mean,
What,
interest like
$20,000 a year. That's this line right here in investment.
It does earn interest, but that interest is operating funds. So we take it out.
Yeah, it's
Well,
right.
I understand that. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, it has to go in and
I
out
mean,
on a
what
regular
percent are we
basis.
getting on?
Right now, I think we looked at 5%.
It was pretty good.
Approximately 5.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I think it's varying obviously with
Yeah.
the market, but
It wasn't 1, it was like 5 last year.
No, it's not unhealthy. It's better than a CD.
so the fund balance isn't growing each year.
No.
We are getting interest, but that is part of the budget. So it's pulling that out. So the only way for it to grow is for us to not have that interest line in our budget. And that's another 20,000 that I would be taking out of our income.
I wasn't.
No, I know. I'm just trying to explain the MLGIP.
I was just concerned it might be getting 0.5% and not 4 or 5%.
No,
Right,
it's doing
so-
okay.
The funds from the state are dropped in every other month. So that's approximately $160,000 every other month for this fiscal year. I leave them in for as long as I can to try to keep that interest that we're going to get in that month a little bit higher. And I will pull them out once we've gotten to the end of our 2-month cycle of the county funds. And I usually always have to pull it out at the end of that 2-month cycle because I've got a payroll I have to run and I'm out of money. So I will keep whatever is put in there for as long as I can in that account to get a higher interest for that month. But it doesn't stay in there. So it still stays approximately the same amount every other month or so that's in the MLGIP. But whatever is in there, what's our fund balance stays the same. It's just that our operating funds are still sitting in there sometimes. That account is used by the state to fund us whatever state funds. So all of our grants go from the state to that account and then into our operating account. And all of the interest and then all of the state grant itself. But we also have our grants.
So I would like to propose that we make a decision today and do not let this drag on. unless there is some additional information that we can't get from what has already been discussed.
I second that motion.
Should I just want to get it done? Okay, so what are our thoughts?
I'm for going with.
Chuck, you have to keep your mic on because otherwise it can't be, you can't be heard online.
What are our thoughts? My thoughts are that we should make the amount that we fund the OPEB account 0. And that we use that income instead to fund programs.
So the whole 90,000 transferred over to programs.
Well, yes, but it also has to, some of it is going to transfer over. If you use option 3, some of it's going to also transfer into other increased personnel expenses, into other expenses. So what we're doing is we're increasing the programs by $40,000 more than the base budget in option 1.
So Chuck, you're proposing 2 or 3.
I'm sorry?
So you're proposing that the discussion be just between budget 2 and budget 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Ramona, we haven't heard from you at all.
Taking it all in, taking it all in. I think
Okay.
that it should be increased because you're talking about the 50,000 that you guys were going to give them, right? Increase that to 90,000. I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Bob?
I'm in favor of option 3.
Okay. John?
Yeah, I could go with either option 3 or the alternative that Chuck proposed, reducing the utility amount to the amount shown in options 1 and 2. Either one would work for me.
Judith?
Pressure. I think I'm saying what Chuck is saying is that if we did the extra 40,000, I would definitely like to see it go into the collection programs area. The whole 40,000 go up into that. So I'm not sure how that impacts 3.
Okay. Dorothy?
I would agree with Chuck.
Okay. So it sounds like budget 1 is off the table entirely, and we have consensus on that. And really the question becomes, let's go then between the initials of 2 and 3. Are we going to keep the fund balance line item the same as what it is or reduce it?
I guess we would reduce it, right?
So
Under my proposal.
No, it would not be reduced. It would be reduced under budget 2 to 20,000.
well, so I think Chuck's is another option. I'm asking really, I'm asking about, do we want the fund balance to continue to have 50,000? Because what Chuck is proposing is that the fund balance amount would be changed by how much we lower the
No, Chuck wants it to go to collections.
yes, but what he was saying was go back to what I understood at least was go back to the utilities of 2,
No,
but
that's
the
for-
collections of 3, and that means the fund balance would take that difference.
No, that's not what happens.
No.
Okay.
But the utilities would be reduced in option number 3 by $4,000, not 40, 4,000. An additional 4,000 would go into collections.
Yes.
That's what
Okay.
he said.
Yeah.
So then Chuck, your proposal is that we keep the $50,000 out of the fund balance the same as it is this year
Yeah,
from the budget.
I have to say, I don't understand the fund balance question. So
The question is, how much do we take out of the fund balance to balance the budget? And budget 3 has 50,000 being taken out and budget 2 has 20. But if you reduce it to 20, then the money that we'd be putting into the collection has to go down.
Down by 30,000.
Yeah,
Right.
so
to be
So
clear,
I'm saying it should be
50.
50.
right,
Yes.
to be clear, everyone that I just took notes on chose option 3. If you want to reduce the fund balance to the 20,000, increasing collections is not an option. It's not. So option 2 is off the table if you want the money to be moved towards
Okay.
collections.
I don't have a problem with taking the money out of the fund balance. It's like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like a savings account. It's like your emergency savings, right?
Right.
And it's there and they ask permission. If we don't make it this year, can we dip in there and grab it? And so far, it's been very conservatively used. I mean,
And
when
we
it's
haven't
like, but
needed to
your
dip in
expenses
use.
go up, the electricity goes to the roof, Smeco or something like that. So I'm okay with it. And we have a healthy fund balance. We have a really healthy fund balance.
Yes, we
So
do.
if we use 25 or 50, we'll be fine. So I'm not worried about touching that. It's just, to me, it's just a question is, do we want to go to the 90 over? But I agree. I do like the idea if we go to the 90, it frees up another 40,000 out of the budget. And I would like it to go into the collection.
And I agree with you on all of
So
that.
how do we make that happen?
Me too.
So
We need to change.
Okay, so
What happens?
so that's option 3.
the only thing you have to change to have Chuck's not yet motion would be to say, I want utilities down $4,000.
Yeah.
From option 3.
Yes, and I want $4,000 to go towards the collections.
Yes. So
Yes,
you would
I
need
think
to
that's-
say the motion is
Option 3 showed 0 in the OPEB funding.
Yes,
Correct?
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly
Yeah.
what I'm proposing.
So
Right.
that's the change that is not yet in motion, but that you were suggesting, and I believe that Judith, you just said you agree.
so
Yeah, I'm just looking for the original number. When I look at option 3 under the collections, it's $434,020. So what are we bouncing that off the 26 amount? We're going up by,
This
No.
by $4,000. So it'd be
In option
433,
3 would
435.
increase, yeah.
Wait,
may I,
Belinda,
may-
please.
the motion that I'm hearing you is option 3, subtracting $4,000 from utilities and adding it to either collections or digital collections. Either you choose or we choose. That's what the motion should be. Based
Yeah.
on what you're all saying.
That's what I'm intending.
And
Yeah.
I second that motion.
All right, so Chuck moves
Right.
that we accept budget option 3 with the modification that it moves $4,000 out of utilities and $4,000 into collections to be allocated as you see fit, I believe.
Yes.
I just want to ask this.
And then Bob seconds that. Go ahead, Ramona.
So why did we talk about using the fund balance? We still want to keep that at 50K. Is that not part of this conversation?
That is not part of this
Okay,
conversation.
sure, okay.
Yes,
Keep-
I was misunderstanding what Chuck was recommending.
Gotcha.
Okay, so there is a motion on the table. Chuck moves, Bob seconds. Discussion, questions, thoughts? Are we ready to vote?
That is what you would like to do, right, Mike?
That is absolutely what I would like to do. And I will say that my priority was increasing the collections in addition to the staff salaries. And those were the things that are most important for the public. The staff salaries, because it allows great service to be given. And I recently shared to you with a customer, none of you had already seen it, but when people come in here, they love the library because of the people who are here. The other thing, they love the library because of the ability to get a good collection, and I want them to have that.
Okay, so if we're ready to vote, all in favor of budget item or budget 3
Aye.
with
Aye.
the modification.
with the modification, yes,
To
that
be-
we are moving $3,000 out of $4,000
Yeah.
out of utilities. And thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm run out of words for today. All right. So all in favor of that modification?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Okay, perfect. There you go.
I turn it over to you for old and new business.
Okay, so here's the deal, people. It is 5:15. I assume you have looked at the EALs and credit cards already. I would like to hear any questions that you have that you want to go over.
No.
Yes, let me find mine. Okay. Larry's Electric at Lexi, light installation.
Makerspace,
Makerspace,
paid
okay.
for by a grant or donations.
Okay, are we have new business at the end?
Yes.
Okay, because I want to bring that up. We've had decodable readers before.
Decodable Readers
And
is
there's a
part of
lot-
the Story Champ grant and
Let me-
paid for by grants.
Finish.
Sorry.
So,
Sorry, Judith.
so I see three, like almost $10,000 in decodable readers. This is an ongoing expense where we continually buy them, or are we just like
No.
going through a phase where we need to buy them?
It's part of the Story Champ grant that
They're-
is paid for by the grant, and they are spending out the rest of it to provide those
It
for
ends at this
children.
It ends at the end of this month.
Okay,
but it's part of collections.
Okay.
And it's not like this amounts.
This is the initial, and then there's like
It's just like any other book that we have
okay.
that would be
That's it for
replaced.
me.
Okay. Then I would like to move that we approve the expense ledger and credit card as written.
Second.
And Bob seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. New trustee,
Aye.
sorry. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Dorothy. The old trustee business, the performance self-appraisal was submitted. I would note that we plan to look at that and complete the director's appraisal in July. I would propose that because we only have to meet 10 times a year, that if we're going to do a bigger meeting with Ashley to talk about and with others to talk about Charlotte Hall, we just make the July meeting only meeting for the director's report. So we only have a closed session and that be the meeting, the schedule, how we handle the schedule for July.
And then we meet with Ashley also in July or August?
Well, because
Or
it
the
sounds
bigger
like
meeting?
we're trying to bring in other people for
Okay.
that discussion, and I don't think we'll be ready for that in July. So that would be probably August.
If we might present to you just the approved budget exactly as it will be. You don't have to approve it. It just
Because
be
we just
information,
did.
but we
Yep.
will give you that budget exactly what it looks like and be established for the upcoming year. We will keep other business items away.
What about if it's necessary to reprogram funds? Do we have to do that in July?
No,
can
we,
do-
I won't be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can't do
we,
it.
we
in
have
July,
to
so
have the
we'll
audit completed, because they fiddle here and there
Okay.
and have to assign more items later.
Mhm.
Anticipate possibly September.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with the idea of, you want the same date and time?
That's what I was thinking. It's just easier to use same
It's a
date,
closed-
time, location. We've
Closed-
got
it's
the room
closed session,
already,
'cause
but
it's
it's
just
a
a
closed
personnel issue.
session.
We have to open it as an open session and then you vote to close it. It can't just be a closed session.
Right.
I
That
don't
is
know.
not how we've done directors
Yeah, no.
report before.
You've always had to close a meeting to do it. And you can't just say, this is a closed meeting, nobody come. Officially, you have to say, we're now calling this meeting to order. We have a quorum.
Yes,
Vote
but we
to-
didn't like open it on YouTube and then close it.
No.
We did
Uh,
those
No, we
things.
can
but-
You
cancel
have
the meeting.
to, by
can
state
cancel the public
law, you have to, and it's right in Maryland code as of 4 years ago, you have to broadcast at least the opening of this. So what you've done
Okay.
before is you've said this is a special closed session.
Right.
But we opened it to the public.
What?
We announce it to the public. People have to be able to show up to the meeting.
Cancel it then.
Okay, so we cancel the July
Cancel
meeting
the
and
director's
use,
meeting publicly, schedule.
cancel the board
and then we'll
meeting.
Schedule our own closed meeting.
That
Because
sounds
other people
reasonable.
have to do that.
Okay, I will simply say, all right, you still have to announce that you're meeting.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, but we don't have to.
And
open
you
it.
still
Yeah.
have to begin as an open meeting.
That is
What's the benefit of?
What you've
What
done
we've done
before is you've said, all right, here's the July, here's last year's July meeting. We're going to close it for the directors thing. Then you had the directors thing separately as a continuation.
No, we met to go over candidates and we never
But
had. an
again,
open
you
meeting.
opened that, you started that as an
We
open
started
meeting.
that with an
No.
open meeting and then we closed it.
Yes,
No,
you
not,
did.
not the interviews.
Not the
Not the
interviews.
interviews.
You
Yeah,
closed the meeting for the interviews. You said, we're opening a meeting, we're going to be having personnel. Here's what we're doing, then you close it.
I will defer to the people who have had the Open Meetings Act training. How would you like to handle July if all we're doing is the director's report?
I don't
Aren't
think
we also,
there's any problem with having it as an open meeting, which we immediately close.
It just means we have to have the IT set up and the broadcast to start with.
Oh.
So that's just
Oh,
complication that seems but I think we have to do that regardless.
If we have to do it, we
If
have
we're,
to do
if
it.
we're talking about the director's report, whether it's the same time or not.
The actually, we don't have to have the live. You can start a Zoom and then we can post the Zoom after.
Oh,
We
okay.
don't have to go through the whole live thing. We have to provide for it eventually. But if you post it at it's open and then if somebody shows up, then you can
You
put
immediately
them out.
close it, yeah.
Right. But we can just start the Zoom, we record the Zoom, and then we can post the Zoom after the fact.
Okay.
We've done
Aren't
that when
we-
we had problems.
aren't we reviewing the, shoot, the proposal 3 anyway?
No, because we just voted on it.
But wasn't she gonna bring back, weren't we gonna have a, um, wasn't she gonna do something, wasn't Belinda gonna do something to bring it back for next month?
We
I know
voted
don't have to do anything with it.
we
really.
voted to approve it with the amendments. And so it will be probably sent out via email with those amendments, but we don't have to meet to talk about it.
Okay.
Information only, yes.
It was information only, yes.
Yes. Okay, so then let's plan to cancel the July meeting. And instead we will have a meeting about the director's report.
All
Or
right.
the
I
director's.
still have to
review.
announce to the public that you're meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you announced a
Um,
closed meeting.
And I have to provide a handicapped accessible place where you do that. But if you just want to have it where it was already scheduled, then
Mhm.
everything is set. They'll just
Yep.
say, here's your meeting. You'll vote to close it right away.
Perfect.
I mean, we
Sounds
used that
great.
small room in Leonardtown when we went through all the applications. I don't know.
Would you like to use the conference room at Leonardtown? That's certainly doable.
We're using the whiteboard and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
We were writing on something. Remember we had the chart?
Mm-hmm.
We worked
Yeah.
really hard.
That's since been
All right,
solved.
so that is the
Oh,
plan.
no.
We will figure out the details. We're meeting at the Leonardtown Library to do that in a
right.
handicapped accessible space with a
If you
meeting
could
that
just-
opens and then closes.
There we go.
July 9th.
Yes,
3
July
We
9th.
just have,
Right.
Yep,
the
absolutely.
youth open meeting. Act
All right,
for
any
virtual.
other last items of business for this board meeting?
Old business or new business?
New business.
So I just had a suggestion kind of for Belinda. I would like to see on the budget, when we use grant money, can we color code those line items or something, like say we buying furniture, we had an electrician come in.
You mean on
Because-
the expenses?
Yeah, on the expenses. So
Okay, yeah, sure.
so
But
this money
not on the EAL, like on the
not
budget.
the EALs, no,
Yeah.
but on the budget itself. So we say, this money is not coming from this Maryland or the state or something. This is our grant funds. This is our grant funds. This is our grant funds. That- Unless line items are mixed, and I don't know that they are.
No, if it's paid for by a grant, it's in the grant lines on the budget. You're talking about the EALs. You're talking about the EALs, so
Maybe.
each thing we buy
Yeah.
and
The
I
things we buy?
usually do write in the description when it's grant funded. I will tell you that I didn't tell Shelby to do that, and she did it this time because I was on vacation on
Yeah.
Thursday.
No, I'm not trying to make more work for
No,
you.
I'm just trying to
So-
understand which one you want.
So under expenses,
Yes.
so if we buy stuff for the maker space,
If we buy stuff for the maker space that's funded by grants and donations, It's in the grants and donations lines. It's nowhere else in the budget.
Donations and grant
So it's not
expenses.
their F and E or anything.
No,
No, it's only under grant as a grant expense.
Okay. All right, I'll look at it again. And where do we show travel expenses?
travel expenses are part of staff development other than the mileage, which is a specific line
I
item.
saw that. Okay.
And those can be in a grant or they can be in a separate staff expenses line into the operating budget.
That's right. So we
We
spend,
do have a staff, we do have that as a grant as well.
we spend all of that 20,000 grant that we get every year for staff development,
Mhm.
for conferences and webinars, and that can include travel.
Mhm.
For anyone who's traveling. And then when we're out of that, it goes into the staff development section of the budget operating funds.
All right, got it. Okay. Those are my questions.
All of that you see on the EAL. The actual expenses.
Okay, any other last minute items?
First of all, I need to thank all of you for a successful fiscal year for the library. I think it's been a very good one. And we will show you statistics. It turns out it will be August that will demonstrate that, yes, we are up in business and things are going well. I know it takes a lot of attention to figure out budgets, so I thank you for that. Next week, I'm going to be publishing a piece on a site called Words and Money with preferred library ebook cost. I will share it with you.
Thank you very much.
And then
Question, when will the copies of the Black Cooking book be available
They're already available.
to purchase?
Already available.
I tried to buy some about 3 weeks ago or so.
Where did you try to buy them? Every library has.
They have them now.
Yeah, they've got them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And
Thanks.
I've got 230 of them sitting in my office.
Oh, okay.
Please take 100, Chuck. All right,
Thank
anything
you.
else? Fantastic. Thank
we're gonna get, could you email out the updated budget, just that document to us? Since
Yes.
we're not meeting
Yes.
fully until August, I'd like
Yep.
to see that. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you.